Hi everyone! In this video we will factor a polynomial completely. The very first thing we want to look for in any polynomial that we want to factor is if there is a greatest common factor. When we do that, it gives us smaller numbers to have to factor, which is preferable. So we look for the greatest common factor. In this case, all three of these terms have a k in common, but the first one is only a 1, so I don't need to look at any of the numbers to pull out or divide them all by a number. So let's just pull out or divide every single factor by the variable k, leaving us with k squared plus 79k plus 78. Now we have a trinomial, so it's not going to follow any of our patterns of a difference of squares or a sum or difference of cubes. But this does follow the form where a equals 1, since this number in front of k is a 1. So in that case, we will take c and find all of the factors of c. 78, we start with the very first factor, which is 1 and 78. And then this one is even, so we can divide it by 2, and we get 2 and 39. 3 also evenly goes into 78, 26 times. And then 4 does not evenly go into 78. 5 does not evenly go into 78, but 6 does. 6 times 13 evenly goes into 78. We could try 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and because those are the numbers between 6 and 13, but those also don't go in. And once I get to 13, I'll start on the other side, and so that means that I'm as close as I'm as factored as possible. And so now we can just start looking for which of these combinations of factors will give us our middle term of 79. Before we do that, we look at our last sign. If this sign is positive, then it means that our two factors will have the same sign. And because it is positive, they will be the same sign. And the first sign tells us what that will be, in this case, positive. So we'll fill in all of these signs on our factors. So they're all positive, and we want to find a combination that will give us the number 79, our middle term. So when I add my first two together, I actually get 79, so I don't need to add any more. These are that's the pair, the combination that I need to use to replace my 79 in the trinomial so we can factor by grouping. So let's rewrite this to make it just a little bit more clear. We have k, and we have k squared. We will be replacing the 79 with our 2 here. So we have plus 1, k, and 1 times k is k, so I'll just leave it like this. And then we add our other factor that we found, which is 78k, and then our last is plus 78 from our question above here that we didn't replace. Now we can factor by grouping. We'll group our first two together and our second two together. The greatest common factor between the first two terms is k, so we'll bring a k out, which dividing the first by k leaves us 1k, and dividing the second by k divided by k is 1, so we have k plus 1. Now the common factor between our next two is positive 78. So we'll factor 78 out of both of those terms. 78 cancels with the first one, so we have k, and 78 divided by 78 is 1 for the second, and it's still a positive sign because positive 78 divided by positive 78 is positive 1. Now we look at these two larger terms, this one, and we have a binomial in common, which is k plus 1. Factoring it out of the first term leaves us with k. Factoring it out of the second term leaves us plus 78. And don't forget our k out in front. And now we have factored our polynomial completely by first looking for the greatest common factor. Then we thought through all of the different patterns that we have, and this one followed the pattern or the form of a equals 1. And now we're all done. We have factored it completely to two binomials with the greatest common factor on the outside. If we wanted to check this, we could FOIL the two binomials and then distribute the k. In doing so, we want it to match the original problem, which is something that I would suggest doing on your own. In this case, we're not going to do it in the video, but it is a good option to make sure that you did correctly factor everything. Either way, we're all done.